Well, welcome to the weekly Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This circle is intended especially for solopreneurs. And this morning we're going to be looking at where to find your audience on social media. So we'll be right back after this. Well, hello everyone. This is Lowell Ann, your host, and greetings to this morning's panel members. Welcome here. So we will, as usual, begin by doing some introductions so that everybody gets an opportunity to say who they are and where they are, and something that's important to say right now. So I'll get us started by saying that in my coaching and consulting work, I help solopreneurs who want more from their business. Together, what we do is we overcome that feeling of overwhelm and procrastination that sets in often, while we bring the business mastery plan into a joyful reality. So Good morning. Let's see, who shall I invite to do? Well, David, you were here first, so why don't you start us off, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Flannery. I'm with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses and United Country Sauk Valley Realty, Team Flannery. If you're looking for property in Illinois, let me know and I'll help you out. Um, I wasn't able to make it last week because I had a death in the family and had to go to the funeral. They scheduled it on the wrong day. So um, that's over with, and now we're on to doing bigger and better things here with the websites. So
Aha. And you're busy creating a brand new website for somebody, aren't you?
well, actually, what I'm doing is recreating a website. It's a
Yeah.
website that was built in 1969 and has been
Wow.
updated many times, but it's made like an HTML website, even though it's built on WordPress. It's very much like the old
Mm-hmm.
HTML site
Mm-hmm.
style sites, and it gets a lot of visitors, a lot of people that come to it. So we're hoping to
Mm.
bring it up to date, get it into the 2020, 2019 area, and have it
Mm-hmm.
looking really nice and flow nice um, and whatnot. So it's going to be a big challenge. It's a big site. It's got over 60,000 pictures on it,
Oh my God. Why that you boy you you
and
got
not a one of them with an alt tag on it at all.
you've got a tiger by the tail, it sounds like.
Yes, I do.
All
It's going to be a
right.
lot of fun, though.
Right.
Enjoy a challenge, and this one's going to be a big one.
Right on. Well, so welcome here. I'm so happy you're here, and I see
The
that you have the YouTube live chat opens because I can see that you put your comments in there. So thank you
Yes,
for that.
I will be monitoring the chat and raising my hand when I
Yeah.
deem necessary.
Okay, that's right on. So, Jivita, how about you?
Hello everyone. I'm Shubhangi from India and I'm a Reiki master teacher and also a yoga teacher. At present, I'm busy with my affiliate marketing website and also I'm very interested in success at local SEO.
Aha. Yes, and that's that whole local thing is a little bit different, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes,
right on. Well, happy to see you here. Welcome.
thank you. Hello, Alana.
Oh, Alana's there, is she? Yeah. Okay. But I think Fred, you were the next one who came on. So how would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone, or wherever you are. It might be afternoon where Ilana is. I'm Fred Jones, located in Victoria, British Columbia, Vancouver Island, on the west coast of Canada. Lovely sunny day in Langford. I don't know what it's like in Victoria, but it's definitely a lovely sunny day here. And the creator of Our Future Leaders, and where I encourage young people to communicate self-confidence, practice their leadership skills and all their social skills, which will help them become the leaders we need as the world changes so rapidly, especially in their world, it's going to change dramatically. And they need those social skills. So I have a wonderful time. Face to face and online sessions are what I promote.
Hmm.
It's spring break, so we've had a few um, sessions that have been canceled because of the face-to-face sessions because a lot of people are away. In fact, I'm dog sitting for someone who's in South Africa with their family at the moment
Mm.
because it's spring break. So the
Mm.
parents and children have gone. Currently, they're in Cape Town apparently after being in Kruger National Park, which is, if you know, is where there's a lot of the animals in South
Mm.
Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right on.
anyway,
Well, when you said it was sunny in Langford, I had to go. I had to go turn around and look because while we were on our walk this morning, it was raining. But as I look out the window, the sun is out.
All right.
So,
Must be from Langford.
yeah. You blew it over here. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, just because I'm with Jay, I have to back Jay. This is where Jay normally hangs out.
Well, so I'm happy you're here, Fred. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now I believe Nathan, you were the next one that came on.
So it seems. Yeah. I'm at my girlfriend's place in a place called Tlajomulco de Zuniga in Mexico. It's one of the large cities outside of Guadalajara. And I haven't been on for quite a while. I've been, among other things, moving around and working on projects. But I've decided to go back into the publishing world. And what I'm doing right now is marketing a project which I call a book in a week. Like, if you could write a book in a week, would you do it? And
Wow.
so I've been showing how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically what I'm doing is marketing a book for entrepreneurs. And it's designed to get you in front of your target audience as the go-to person, the trusted authority.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right on.
yeah.
Well, I notice you have a very, very different background today.
Yeah, that's the background of my girlfriend's place. I mean, she's in this huge house. I'm on this estate, if you can believe it. Well, it's a what is it? A retirement community built by American expats like 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous.
Wow.
Just gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, it's like some of the beautiful neighborhoods I remember back in Canada. Not all that different because a lot of it's American style. It's really lovely here.
Yeah, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. We haven't seen you for a while.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think the next person who came on was Vivek. How are things with you this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever it is there? I think it's afternoon, isn't it?
Namaste.
Namaste.
My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology Private Limited is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential.
I like that. So how are things in the UK?
They are slowly warming up. Spring is nearly here. We are moving the clocks end of next week, I think. So till then, yeah, it's a different time for me. So
Right on.
otherwise, it's
Understatement.
usually 5.
That's
Now
a
it is
minor understatement to do with a different time. Literally.
Yes, things are strange things are happening in the UK right now.
Yeah,
Politically.
yeah, they are. So
Yeah.
nobody knows what's going to happen, and
Right. Well, I'm happy you made it.
yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah. So, Alana.
Greetings from the old sod here in Ireland. It's 4:00 this afternoon, and we have a lovely spring day here as well. And my company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I manage websites for people and create them, manage them, that sort of thing. And I also have an EmptyNesterBlog.com website where I help empty nesters create their own income using affiliate marketing.
Right on.
So yeah, it's funny you say that, Vivek. Our clocks are going ahead this weekend, so I'm a little surprised if yours are going ahead next weekend. I thought Europe was all in sync, but maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, this is the party's going to be over after this weekend because I've enjoyed having the 4 and 7 hour difference as opposed to the 5 and 8 hour difference. So,
For what it's worth, we've been dealing with similar problems with the time zone shift in Mexico. And I had a meeting with a guy yesterday and asked me to confirm. And I said, "Oh, it's at 11 o'clock." He said, that was 14 minutes ago. I said, "Well, not in Mexico. It's in 45 minutes from now." And it confuses the crap out of everybody. I mean, if they would only get it synchronized, it would make life easier for everybody. But no, they've got to have it at all these different times.
Well, the good news is the notice that I get from Lowell shows at the right time. So even though in my head it's 5 o'clock, when I look at my calendar it says 4 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, yeah, time zone difference. Okay, we're not there yet, so yeah, I can hop on board then.
It's like dealing with Illinois and Indiana, because Indiana doesn't change. And
That's
actually there's something I should toss into the chat here, because it's to do with time zones, because it seems that a lot of us have the same problems. So I'll throw it into the chat. It's a tool I found.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is that I don't have any problems anymore with time zones, because I found that Google Calendar will take care of a lot of that. And I also found that on my phone in the clock app, you can look to see what time it is anywhere in the world, and it'll tell you. So that's how I handle it.
Yeah, there's something else that I got called World Time Buddy, which allows you to set different places. And then it's got this little slider which tells you that what time it is where you are as opposed to where somebody else is.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Better than anything I've had so far.
Yeah. So there are tools out there. So
thankfully, yes.
So this morning, just by way of introduction of our topic this morning, last week we were talking about blogging and where was the best place to promote our blog posts. And we talked quite a bit about why we should be blogging in the first place. What's the point of doing that? And then some places that it would make sense to promote your posts. But then we began to wonder, what is the best way to discover where's your target audience? So, especially in all these different platforms. And so we decided that would be a good discussion for us this morning as to, where we, how do we determine that? And I see that Jay has joined us. Good morning, Jay. Do you want to introduce yourself before we dive into the conversation?
Sure, thanks. Hi, my name is Jay. My company is Magi Studios, and we help people get started in the world of internet marketing, affiliate marketing, local marketing, all the wonderful things in marketing online. Happy to be here. Take it away, Laura.
Right. Well, so after sort of doing that, I just started thinking about, all right, so where do we determine and obviously this all has to do with keywords. So I began to think, well, if I wanted to know where my audience was coming from, I guess I would go to Google Console and see where the for my website and see where the traffic is coming from. That would be one place I would look. But then I started thinking about, well, for a website like one of mine, there are a lot of blog posts in there, and each one of them is based on a different keyword. So then I started thinking about, okay, but we do have sort of a major keyword that goes with each blog site. or website. So I suppose the first thing to do would be to just do a Google search and see what comes up. Has anybody ever tried that on for their website?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, it's kind of serendipitous that you're talking about this. Is I was actually looking at your site in one of my SEO tools and noticed that you are ranking on first page for Monday motivation.
Really?
Yeah.
Which is not a keyword I don't think that I've used.
But at some point you were doing Monday motivation, so it's actually
I was calling it Mindset Monday.
Right. Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what it was. I'll have to check again. But
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just goes to show you, you can just randomly look at things and find out what you're ranking for. One of the cool things, I think, if you actually Google your domain name, just your domain name, no HTTP or no www, just the actual root domain in Google. Typically what happens is the results will show up in what Google perceives as the order of importance. So if your privacy policy shows up as the first position, that means you got a little bit of work to do, because it perceives that privacy policy is of the most importance. So so I mean, typically it'll be your root, your homepage, and then perhaps something that's more, popular within your content. So it'll just kind of drip down from there.
So I began to wonder, I mean, when we talk about that, I mean, one of my websites is loweland.com. So if I just typed in Loweland, I would get a lot of different things, wouldn't I? More than, I mean, it would be all kinds of things that were not necessarily a website. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, so probably your YouTube channel. Actually, your YouTube channel, and then also when you've been guests on other people's YouTube channels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so and then
or when your name is showed up in somebody's post or whatever. Yeah.
Just a really easy way to kind of keep track of that is to use something called Google Alerts. And what Google Alerts does is it will, you just put your name in quotes, and then every time a notification comes up for your name, it'll send you an email. And you can have this done ad hoc, daily, weekly. You can basically set the time frame.
Yeah.
And then if someone mentions you, then you can kind of jump in and say, hey, thanks for the mention, if it's through social media or something like that.
So yes, I did a Google alert with the phrase "being your own CEO," and that pops up every once in a while when somebody uses that phrase in a blog post or whatever. Yeah, so that is kind of useful. So has anybody else in the group? What happens when have you Googled your domain name or just to see what comes up? Anybody?
I just did it right now, and actually several years ago I got scooped on my domain name because there's another outfit out there that also uses the same name as me. They got the .com, and they're a cattle feed company of all things. So, but the ironic thing is that and I've done this kind of search before, is that they tend to come up first. But then I'm immediately underneath them, and there are a whole bunch of listings for what I have, maybe like 10 or something, and there are maybe 2 or 3 for them. So I get the bulk of the listings for my name, and they have a couple of things for their company. For whatever reason, they don't seem to have a wide market penetration. They just seem to have their site and a couple of other things. So.
But they show up first.
They show up first because they got the .com. I mean, I don't know how to place them on the .com.
Right.
But I'm literally right underneath them. I just Googled it now, and what shows up is my Twitter account right underneath them.
So that does that tell you that is where your best audience is?
not on Twitter. So I'm rather surprised because I don't use Twitter all that much anymore. So yeah, definitely need to do some work, but that's okay.
Nathan, what's
I
your
tried.
domain name?
What's that?
Sorry to interrupt. What's your domain name? What was the domain name you're talking
It's
about?
it's nathansiegel.org.
Oh,
And when yeah.
I tried searching my domain name. It shows up my website. It won't let me. All it does is it just shows my website.
I had the same thing happen until I just got rid of the org and just typed in my name, and then it showed me all the other stuff.
And
Yeah.
if I drop the .com, it shows me my business, Google My Business page. So
I know. Talk to Jay about this. He knows more about it.
Well, so I mean, as we were going to talk about what we needed to talk about today was, you know, how to figure out where is the best place to put our time in social media. And I guess the big thing that comes up for me, and I know David, when we were talking in the green room, it probably comes up for you as well. Is he here or did he disappear? He's disappeared. Oh no, there he is.
I'm still here.
Yeah, I have to keep switching back and forth in order to see who's in the.
I do have someone from Italy. It says Wisdom Factory. Says hi again from Italy.
Hi Heidi, welcome here.
Thought that was Heidi, but I wasn't sure.
Right on. Yeah. So, this whole thing that happens between Google and Facebook seems to be an issue, and I don't know what to do about that, and I don't know if anybody else here is experiencing that problem. But I mean, when you do a Google search of anything, nothing shows up that has been posted in Facebook. So, it seems it's a closed community, and
I also try to incorporate a Facebook video that's recorded on Facebook Live and try to bring it into the website. No, it won't let me. So Facebook is a fenced garden, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they want to keep their property. They want to own their property. Yeah, exactly. Similar to how YouTube and Google want to do this exact same thing. You might get some results from Bing because Facebook uses Bing as their proprietary search engine. Possibly not in Google. So
I didn't know that. That's something that's worth. But then when you're in Facebook, I mean, unless you boost a post, it looks like nobody ever sees what you post. So.
Well, I mean, that's if you don't have a social, growth. No, obviously, no one's going to see it. So.
Yeah.
You want to be growing an audience inside. It is a long-term investment of time, to grow an audience inside Facebook. There's no doubt about that. But some people believe that there's a good payoff there as you grow. But it depends on where your audience is. If your audience is there, then I would invest that time to do that. But if your audience is elsewhere, like Instagram or Pinterest or even in like YouTube, for example, because YouTube is considered a social media, nowadays. So then that's to take into consideration.
Well, I mean, we have to remember that YouTube, especially. I mean, I think it's more. The reason it's so effective is that it's more. It sort of is a social platform, but it's also a very effective search engine. And so when you're looking for something, if you go to YouTube, excuse me, you're bound to find something that relates
Yeah.
to your.
Yeah. Coming soon is a whole month of YouTube and YouTube SEO in Wealthy Affiliate live
Oh.
training.
Oh, really? That's good to know. Are you doing it, or is it? Yeah, right on.
Yeah. So it's going to be kind of like a case study where I'm going to actually be doing the research, the actual video, the promotion of the video,
Oh, good.
and so on. So, and then you can see the growth.
Mm-hmm.
Can I share my screen to show you what my domain pops up?
Sure.
Just kind of, since we're talking about
Yeah.
YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my domain name, just Googled, and these are my core website results. And then as I scroll down, YouTube. So
Wow.
goes to show you the importance of YouTube, And I'm not that active on YouTube, right? I mean, these are just some older videos, but they're there,
Well, that's really. I'm glad you did that, Jay, because I mean I was aware that you haven't been very active on YouTube, and yet look what has come up. That's
exactly.
that's a real breakthrough to kind of recognize that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and Nathan, I was looking at your site here, and where were you? Show you some keywords you're ranking for. Well, you're dominating your name, so that's good. But then life after bullying. You're page 50 or position 59. The art of selfless, position 68. So, things are, and it looks like things are moving. So, keep up the work there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, interesting about the life after bullying. I did that for closure in my life. I wrote a book. I published it on Amazon. I've made it free, but I've never really tried to do anything with it. So I'm kind of surprised because it was meant to be a thing of closure in my life. And so it's kind of surprising that it's showing up like that.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. But you're getting more like this represents a backlink profile right here, right? So it's looking like you're getting, more and more backlinks pointing back to your site. And I think that's because of your outreach, because from any kind of conversation you've had here with Laulan, it seems like you do a lot of interviews and collaboration, and I think those efforts do pay off, as you can see here, right? As you can see this growth of links pointing back to your site.
Actually, there's going to be more of that. I mean, you missed what I was talking about earlier, but I did a lateral move to go back into the publishing world. And what I'm doing right now is promoting something like, if you could write a book in a week, would you do it? And so in terms of outreach and social media, I've been working with a colleague who I found through my marketing, and we're using Sales Navigator and LinkedIn, and it's been producing some pretty amazing results. I've been talking with people, like it's only been the last 3 weeks that I've been doing this, but the results that we've been getting have been pretty amazing. And I've got like 3 or 4 contracts in the works with potential clients right now. So
that's great.
And that's only in about 3-4 weeks of marketing on LinkedIn. So, but it's using different sales messages, like an intro message, a follow-up, a third follow-up, and then there's truly talking to people, and it's been pretty interesting for sure.
So here, and Laulan, this is yours.
But
so
it says page not found at the top.
Oh, yeah. So, but that's obviously there's some sort of error there.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually, you've had that for a while. And I remember we did some digging around.
But we still haven't found out what it is.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a site audit for you as we speak.
Good.
It's running in the background to kind of figure that out. But you can see here again, so more people are actually linking to your site. It's gone down a little bit, but overall there's just since July 2017, you just had this kind of I guess you would call it a small explosion of growth here. It's like Mentos and Pop. Right?
I wonder what on earth that's related to.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you started doing, something where you had some more people. I mean, we could dig into it more, but then looking at your organic search here, let's see. There you go, Mindset Monday.
Yes.
Quick question, Jay.
Keywords.
Quick question, Jay. When you were looking at my site and then you looked at those graphs, where did you find those?
The graphs?
The graph that you were showing.
Oh,
keywords. What did you do?
This is
What
a
program
tool.
is he using?
Oh, I'm using something called Ahrefs.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it's software here. Yeah, the software that digs in, kind of scrapes it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so Lauren, you're right. Mindset Monday. That's what you're ranking for. You're dominating search with Mindset Monday. Zoom virtual background. That's kind of neat. How to zoom in OBS. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Too. So.
Well, and those are they are. Do you know what those are? Those are the pages that related to our Tuesday morning thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But some of those topics might be worthy of, expanding and doing some writing and blogging.
Here's what I would do is, I would do a blog post as to how to do a Zoom virtual background. And then all of these old posts,
Yeah.
I would link to that new blog post. Say, here's how you do a Zoom virtual background. And then what will happen, because you have the internal links using that anchor text, then this will rank for the new post.
Yeah.
And we'll be rocking.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, is there anyone? I know we're getting off topic, so
Yes, you are.
stop.
We are. You are, and we are.
Well, I'd like to
Shiny
share.
object.
Yeah, I'd like to share something else about this whole process. I don't know how many of you know of a guy by the name of John Morrow, but a while ago he put out a series like how to be, I forget exactly, but how to be seen as an accomplished writer, and it's a 4-part series about promoting yourself using blog posts and so on. And I've been sending it out like crazy to just about everybody I know who is into publishing and blogging, because there are a couple of major tools that he talks about for determining what your content should be on the web. And so if you've got your keywords, the very first place you should be going to is a site called BuzzSumo, and doing a search for your keywords there, and it will bring up the top stories and the number of shares. And you can get a membership, and that's rather expensive, but it will show you maybe the top 10 listings and the shares. And if you look at the titles and you write similar titles, and you also look at the content and write something maybe similar to that, then you can get much better rankings for your articles. But the second part of it is where you use a platform called medium.com. And according to John Morrow, potential audience of 60 million readers. And he said, instead of building a blog and concentrating all your energies on that, to take advantage of medium.com and leverage their audience and test a whole bunch of different articles to see how well they rank. And depending on how well they rank, you can then move your content over to your blog and work with it that way. So it's a 4-part series that I've got. So it would be challenging to send it to everybody. I haven't figured out how I would do something like that. But if any of you are interested in it, let me know. And I'll do what I can to send it over, because there's some really, really good stuff in there about building your audience.
Has anybody heard of medium.com before?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I have. Yes.
And you would, Jay.
Yeah. So I understand that strategy. I don't know about like doing a testing ground on Medium and then transferring the content over to your own domain, because it almost seems like you'd be kind of starting over again in terms of duplicate content, because the content that you'd post on Medium would be first to search result, and then as far as I know, Medium doesn't have a 301 redirect feature. You'd have to do anchor text linking and then rewrite the content to make sure that it's fresh and new. So I just, and I've never been a big fan of running your business off of leased land. Like what happens if your Medium account gets hacked or taken away? Like, remember the days of Squidoo? Remember Squidoo? Or like, oh, that's where you got to write. That's where you got to, and all of a sudden now look at them, right? Or what was the other one? Hub Pages, right?
Hub Pages, yeah. Well, something, Jay, it's this is all very pertinent timing, because I ran into a major problem a while ago, and a buyer that I was working with falsely filed a PayPal dispute against me, and it got ugly real fast. And but I had to wait because I had some financial transactions going on before I could file a rebuttal, and I did that last Friday. Friday. Anyway, I filed everything. And then the guy came back at me in another way. He changed his claim and went after me again. But unfortunately for him, he tripped the PayPal filters. And as I discovered, if you're working in digital goods and somebody files a dispute saying, like, first he said that I never delivered, which was a lie, and I was able to prove it. And then he comes back and says, oh, not significantly, blah, 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 damaged. And PayPal came on, and they asked me and said, well, what did you ship? And I said, digital goods. And I got some coaching from some friends of mine in the Internet Marketing Super Friends group on how to handle that. And they said, make sure you mention digital goods and that you refer to the buyer as the client. And I followed their instructions, and literally yesterday, I wound up on the phone with them after this guy attacked me again. And she said, what did you do? And I said, the digital services. And she just went, going to deny the claim. Boom, it was over, just like that. So it was a good lesson in terms of services, but it also taught me I need to write better contracts. But even with that, like you said, leased land. And thankfully, I had a couple of backups in terms of payment services like Payoneer. And I think that's the only other one that I've got as a way of dealing with it.
At least it wasn't on ClickBank.
What's that?
I said, at least it wasn't on ClickBank.
No, well, it could have been worse. But yeah, it was just a real pain in the butt on PayPal. And it showed me that for certain transactions going forward, I'm just going to do the wire transfer method as opposed to PayPal. It was really scary what happened.
So yeah, that's real. But I wanted to quickly kind of jump back on topic and show you a way to how you can find your audience through social media.
Mm-hmm. And while you're doing that, I just want to acknowledge Heidi's out there, and she said that she has posted quite a bit on Medium, so she's had some experience on that.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to use the same tool, but this can actually, through a little bit of an effort, this could be done just with Google as well. So I'll show you the method that I use first, and then I'll saunter over into the other methods. So let's see here. Okay. Okay, so let me just move you guys over here. Okay. So what we're looking at is something called Content Explorer. This is a feature inside of the Ahrefs. It's actually very similar to what Nathan was talking about with the BuzzSumo, where it can show you your the social outreach of what you search, right? So this is more of an advanced search that I did, and I'll zoom in so you can see. So this is an advanced operator. But what I wanted to see what popular unboxing videos were most often shared on social media. So this advanced operator is show me everything that has the title unboxing. And then what it's doing is it shows me the last 30 days, and it's based, and then I could sort it by traffic. So the most popular one is this thing here, Hell Case Unboxing. I have no idea what that is. But if we look here, we can see the volume of shares here.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can also sort it by the volume of shares. So let's say I want to sort it by, let's go Twitter shares. And let's actually go, yeah, last 30 days. Okay, so that's good. And let's actually go English only.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay, so the number one is this. These are headphones. But if you look at the date, it's 2017, still old, right? And look at this one. Unboxing with Mike Tyson. And it's an old one. It's from 2015. But
wow.
Yeah, it's super popular because it's still getting a fair amount of Twitter shares, right? And then if I click on details, I can see, you know, where the backlinks are. I can see the domains where people are linking to that video. I can see which keywords are you know, this particular video is ranking for. I can actually see even who tweeted this particular.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I can see that Jimmy Kimmel sent out a tweet about this particular video.
That's really interesting. Very valuable data.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. So now let's do something a little more vague, right? So let's go. Let's go. Youth mentoring. I don't know. Is Fred here?
Yes, he is.
Turned off my.
Yes,
okay.
he's here.
There you go. So this one's for you, Fred. All right, youth mentoring. Now, so now what I'm showing is everything, like not just YouTube, but just Google itself, right? And I can see, and we're still sorting by the Twitter shares, right? You see by the most volume of Twitter shares. So in this particular case, we can see that it's got, you know, the one that has the most amount of Twitter shares in the last 30 days is 1.3K. So, but if I look here, I'm going to zoom in so you make it easier to see. But the same video has 35,000 shares on Facebook. So this tells me that maybe my audience in this particular category is in Facebook and versus Twitter. So let's go and sort it by Facebook shares. So this one has 331,000 Facebook shares.
Sacramento City Council votes unanimously? Wow.
So now we can refine this a little bit by doing this in quotes. By doing it in quotes, it says, okay, I want to find that exact term. So let's adjust. So same thing, right? Now I want to refine it even more. Let's say I only want something, I want to find things that were actually been published within the last 90 days. Oh, no, let's go 30 days. Let's see if we're getting hits from there. All right. So again, we're still at the Facebook shares. So this one, so somewhere within this particular post, it has the word youth mentoring. So what I would do then, if youth mentoring was my niche, I would then go to this particular post. And if it had the availability, I would comment on it.
Right.
Oh, well, look at that. There we go. So I have the ability to leave a Facebook comment if I wanted to. So this gives me the ability then to kind of engage within my audience, you know, within my niche. and be able to kind of jump in there. But the point of this particular search is to see where people are hanging out most often within this particular niche, right? So, and it looks like it's Facebook versus Twitter or Pinterest. So, and then, and that's really how you do it. So now going from here, let's do the free version. So we're going to go to Google Trends, and I'm going to use the same term. Past 12 months, let's go past 30 days, see if we can get any hits here. Okay, so it's a little too vague. So let's go global. All right, so the same thing, nothing too prevalent here. So let's go last 12 months. Okay, so now I can see that there is something called youth mentoring programs. So that's kind of interesting. So this is kind of triggering something. So we can go do a news search. So nothing there. So now let's actually go youth mentoring as a topic. Okay, nothing too popular here. Let's go back to web search. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of refinement. But what I am seeing though is it's quite popular in New Zealand and Australia. Those two areas kept popping up within that. And then these are related topics. So what I was actually trying to find was related queries, right? So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to Google, and I'm going to go youth mentoring. And I'm going to see if I can find anything related to, so nothing in social pops up on the first page. So now what I do is I'm going to go to actually the Facebook. And I'm going to go ahead and search. And I can see there's some groups here. And what I'm looking at is the volume of members. So we could see there's a youth mentoring program, 17,000 members, 465. So not too, it's all right. Now, if we were to go to Twitter, let's just do this. Okay, so now I can go to a couple of these and I can see how many, so this one has some followers, a bunch of tweets, so that looks good. So what I would do, so basically on this information that I gathered here using this free method, I can see that, excuse me, it would be ideal to either create a youth mentoring group in Facebook or join some of these, and also start following these particular Twitter accounts. And just start engaging and seeing from there, it's seeing where you're getting the most amount of engagement. And then once you determine that, then you can start to create your own social accounts. So, so as you can see, it's a little more work, but it certainly does pay off.
So I've never heard of Google Trends before. That's something that I've not used before. So that's really interesting. Wow.
It's very trendy.
I have to send you back to pun school because your puns, like 2/3 of a pun is PU, you know.
Right.
Good
What I
riddance,
like to
Jake,
use,
sorry.
that's okay, it's all good. What I like to use Google Trends for is to do a comparison. So let's say you're kind of waffling over two different terms. So you can add a comparison here, right? So I've got youth mentoring versus mentoring youth. And we can see that the term mentoring youth is a little more popular.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And look, it says Kenya.
Yeah. Well, if you remember wasn't there one here? Or no, it was Uganda. Yeah, okay, so there you go. And you can see that, youth mentoring programs seems to be more popular. So, I mean, that's just a way to, kind of seeing what people are, because, what you think people are searching for might be completely different,
So Fred, do you see yourself using that for marketing and getting involved? Finding people who would be interested in your program.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate that Jay reached out into youth. I would say try youth empowerment and see what happens. Just in comparison, if you have time.
Right
because
on.
Mentoring means adults involved, and I try not to get adults involved. Children today hear enough from adults, teachers, parents, but they want to empower them because there are some amazing skills that young people have today. So empowerment is more along the lines of what I'm interested in doing.
Well, there you go.
It's one of my favorite topics.
You're well versed in your niche.
It's one of my favorite topics too, Fred, to do with empowerment. You might want to check out the bus sumo thing that I mentioned earlier and see what comes up that way. It certainly couldn't hurt. And it's really great that there are all these tools out there. I wasn't really aware of them, but in terms of what I'm doing and how I want to build my niche, I mean, one thing you might want to check into, Fred, if you haven't thought about it already, is a way to broaden your audience and reach more people is through marketing to associations. And so if you find associations that are a good fit for your niche and you start talking to them, what happens is if you talk to them and you get one person within the leadership interested in your offering, whatever it is, and they really like what you have to offer, then that person can act as your ambassador to the rest of the organization. And it could pay some really good dividends. So something to think about.
Right. Thanks, Nathan. I appreciate. In fact, I appreciate all of the input here. That's why I attend these sessions. It's like mastermind brainstorming. So it's wonderful to hear different opinions. You can't do it on your own. So thanks. I appreciate it.
Never thought of us as a mastermind, but something we are.
Invoices in the mail.
That's Nathan. That was what we called this, a mastermind, years ago when we first started it. And
I think I recall that, but I've completely forgotten, and I've gotten so used to us being together. It's kind of like a fireside chat in a way.
Well, and there were several people at the time that were involved at the time felt that the term masterminding was kind of going out, and that we needed something different. So this is the Success Circle was what the group decided.
Interesting. I've forgotten. I've been
Well,
around your group for so long.
It started 5 years ago.
Yeah, my God, time flies.
Yeah. So, what about the others here? How I mean, can you see yourself well, this is very time consuming work, isn't it? To be able to go in and do all these searches for all these different keywords. Yeah.
But I
Well, you
think
could
in the end,
probably
it's worth
outsource
it.
it. You could outsource it, I would
I
imagine.
wouldn't outsource it. No, I wouldn't do that because
I wouldn't
you
do
know,
it either. I wouldn't do it either. I was just saying you could, but for
oh, yeah.
something this important, I wouldn't want to outsource it. No way.
Mm.
Well, I need to do a study on my region and find out how people are finding their different businesses. Being local SEO, building local websites, that it really needs, that's a study I need to do, because when I did my online machine shop, I got it all done and everything, and switched it from a national to a local business, and then I found out that nobody around here searches for it. We get, on the first page quite often around here, but it doesn't do us any good because no one's searching for it. So I need to find a way that people are looking for machine shops, and then market it that way.
Mm. So from a local perspective, you're saying?
Yeah.
Mm.
It is kind of funny that there's some people, like I was working with this one guy who was doing SEO in the city of Calgary, but the problem is, like you said, if nobody's searching for it, so great, you wind up on page one for a keyword that nobody's looking for, and so it's going further afield, and seeing if you can find the one thing that, like maybe Jay's method can help you find the one major thing you're known for, and you may not even realize it until you use the method he's using. And when you find that keyword, you could leverage it and create some sort of doorway, if you will, into your site, so that could become your focus point, and use that in that way, and leverage it so that once they come into your site, then they can see the other services you offer.
Correct. And that's the study I need to do, and I've got a local home inspector that I need to do the same thing with. Figure out how people are searching for their home inspector, and then go to that market and then draw them into the website so they can contact him and whatnot. We assume that it's Google My Business is where the people are searching, but you know what assuming does.
Well,
yes.
and here's something that I noticed is and I think that most of the searches in Google My Business happen from a cell phone.
Yes.
And one of the things I do whenever I'm looking for anything within this city is I always go to Google Maps and I type in what I'm looking for, and it will pop up the various businesses. And you will be amazed at the number of those businesses that have not done anything with those listings, and there's no website there.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. So,
but a lot of those people are the type of people that are scared that when their fingers touch the keyboard, it connects and sucks their brains out into the computer, and they're just deathly scared of them. And those people are fun to deal with.
But Jay, is there, are you aware of any way to do a Google search that would bring up what is listed in Google Maps? I mean, I do all my searching within Google Maps, but I don't know. Is there a way to search?
Like for research purposes?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a tool called Bright Local. Bright Local, and what it does is it can give you some insight as to what's ranking locally, and you can actually set up a geographic location. And I actually think they have a free version, like a free tool in the front end of their website to be able to do that. Let me just double check here.
Very local is a citation building, right? Is that the site that you're talking about?
Well, that is one of the services that they have,
Okay.
but it does do just a variety of other things as well.
Okay.
So, just to share an experience, I was looking for a company that does resilvering. I have a piece that I want to have resilvered. So that's the first thing I did is I went to Google Maps and I looked for that, and I ended up having to bounce back and forth between Google Maps and just a regular Google search. But I eventually did find one. And but no, they didn't have a website. I phoned them. There was a phone number there, and I phoned them. So,
Cool.
so there's
Okay.
there's a good reason for anybody to connect if they're connecting themselves, to make sure that everything within the Google Maps listing or the Google My Business is completed. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Isn't this cool?
Yeah. So you can choose Maps or Google.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dave, what do you want me to put in here? Bueller? Bueller? Dave?
Is he there?
Dave, are
It
you
helps
here?
if I unmute.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking to you. I'm going all on. Home inspection, DeKalb, Illinois. Let's try that one.
Home inspections?
Yeah.
And where in Illinois?
DeKalb.
Can you spell that, please?
DEK. ALB.
Well, that's an easy city to remember. All right, let's try that.
I think you need to put the Illinois in there
Yeah.
because there's a lot of DeKalbs throughout the United States, believe it or not.
That's a strange name. Wow.
So what this basically just did for me, it's making me pretend that I'm in however, this Illinois place.
DeKalb, yeah.
Yeah, DeKalb. And then here I can find out who's ranking for what. So these are all ads, so we can then just look here. Now let's go search again, and let's do it just for maps. And there's our maps. So basically what the tool does is it makes you pretend where you are, like where you want it to be, right?
The thing that I'm finding is I have a hard time getting into the larger markets with the site that I'm working with. The smaller markets were pretty much number one, but I don't even show up in DeKalb. It's a larger market, or Rockford, Illinois, or Freeport, Illinois, and it's one of the, when you go in and you set up Google My Business, it's one of the places. And I noticed that, like, when you go back to the map on that.
I wonder what would happen if you did a search for podunk.
I noticed that there's a number of places that are further away than what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Although no, there's only one. I take that back. One or two.
Hmm.
We're in Rochelle, Illinois.
So, so when you do a search like this, what are you looking for exactly?
Well, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for my home inspection gentleman to come up on the map, and then eventually go higher and higher and higher on the map.
Well, okay. Well, what I mean is that once you find these things on the map, how are you going to use this information?
Well, generally, what people will do is they will click on. Let's say you click on Harlan's Home Inspections Incorporated, and it brings it up, and it allows you to be able to telephone them, to go to their website, to do to be able to contact the people.
Okay.
So, and you can see that there's a number of them there that do not have a website.
Correct.
Yeah.
Amazing in this day and age.
So, Dave, there's your market for building affordable websites.
Yes.
There's how you find them.
Well, the problem is it's real hard to do a competitive. I've got one that wants to be in that market,
Right.
and it's hard to go and do another site, at least in my mind, that's in his market.
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
Correct.
yes.
I would do another home inspection site for a different market if it was, like down in LaSalle, Peru, or you guys don't know where I'm talking about, but in a different city that he doesn't have a market. It just my ethics doesn't allow me to do that. I guess.
No, but I mean, this would be a way to research. So if you thought of another sort of style of business, and you went in there and did that research, you could see all these people who have not yet created a website. So there would be a place to market your web building, and then I guess you would only be able to choose one, right? Yeah.
Basically, yeah, and it depends. Like if you're in DeKalb and you're choosing a local restaurant, let's say, that needs a website that doesn't have one, you could do that and then go to another, a closer town and do one there, and so forth and so on. Where I need to really be researching is going closer into the Chicago area and doing the suburbs out there. So you could, they're 15, 20 miles away from each other, but they're not really competing against each other.
Yeah.
Because they're really being localized. So you could do that real easily.
So, Alana, I know that you do websites for people. Can you see yourself using a method like that?
I should. I definitely should. But I don't know. See, here, it's different here. I mean, all the work I've gotten so far has been by referral, and I'm a little gun shy about just, going out and knocking on somebody's door and say, hey, let me do your website, But yeah, it would take some research, and I have wanted to use Bright Local for other things. And I remember having a conversation with Jay about Bright Local before. So, I mean, it's possible. And I mean, the fact that you can actually see right there that there's websites that are not even there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely an untapped market. So it has a lot of potential.
So this is really interesting because we started talking about our topic today was supposed to be where to find your audience in social media. Look what we ended up with. Well, but what
straight down the tube.
But where to? I mean, this is about where to find your audience, though. That's what we're talking about.
There's so many different ways of doing it. It's like
exactly.
Okay, like just to, I don't know if I'm throwing a spanner in the works, but what I was talking about with LinkedIn, there are a couple of different ways that you can do it. if you want to start reaching out to people. And so you would do a search for something like consultants, and then the first, second, or third level, and then the location like United States or Canada or wherever. You do a search and you use Sales Navigator, but you also have these tools that will allow you to customize, like you write custom messages that you send out. So Linked Navigator is one approach. There's another method that I was using called Linked Helper, which is a plugin that goes into LinkedIn and into your browser. It's like $15 a month, and it does something similar to Sales Navigator. And you can start prospecting for your audience the same way.
Wow.
And it's been pretty interesting. And I noticed that as I'm getting better at my message, I'm starting to get more leads from it. And I've only been doing this now for about 3 weeks. And it's kind of amazing how well it works. And so, I mean, LinkedIn can be a huge audience, a huge untapped resource. And I've never used it in this way before. And I'm really astonished by how much is there. You could send out like 60 messages a day through these different connections on LinkedIn. So it's pretty cool.
You called it Linked Helper and Sales
Linked Helper.
And
Sales Navigator is part of the LinkedIn interface. It's like $90 a month or something, but you can get a 1 month free trial. And you want to look for the premium version, and you learn how to use it, and you can use it to automate the sending out of all these messages. And of course, when you do that, you're going to want to build a database of all the names and everything else, and what happened when you contacted them and so on, which is what I've been doing. It's been pretty cool. I mean, some really neat connections, and people are starting to write to me and saying, hey, if I work with you this way, can this happen? And it's just like, wow, it's interesting. Kind of fun.
Alana, you can go work for Coca-Cola as a web designer.
I saw that in Ballina. That's way on the West Coast.
Oh, is it? Well,
Yeah,
because I jumped into Bright Local here and searched web designer for Dublin, Ireland.
Yeah.
Got some cool. It's funny. There's lots of jobs available.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back from what?
Coming back from our unemployment recession.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool.
What an interesting topic this has been.
It took us down the long and winding road.
Yes, it did, but a very useful one, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say we're not finished. Just scratched the surface, really. And I mean, the wonderful thing about a group like this is, well, yes, there are all these, what do you call them, dog legs, and but you know, it's the kind of thing that could turn into like a series, if you will, if we mapped out a number of shows beyond what we just did today and say, hey, I'd like to explore more of X, Y, and Z, and just map it out for future shows, and then just say, oh, we want to do this. But as is typical in this group, we have a tendency to go in a whole bunch of different directions, but that's one of the beauties of being here, is all of that.
Well,
Can I just throw out something that I have kind of discovered of late, is that I've been starting to use Quora, Quora, a little bit more. And so at first, like I have a profile out there or whatever. And what you can do out there is you just go out there and you plug in a keyword and you see who's asking questions about that keyword. And then you answer questions. And what I recently discovered is that people who will ask questions actually write a whole blog post out there about their question. So they'll say something like, how do I get started in affiliate marketing? And next thing you know, instead of seeing an answer from 6 or 10 different people, you're reading somebody's blog post that's referring you to their website. So I thought that was very interesting, but it's also a great place to kind of hang out and find out what everyone is talking about in your niche. And the other thing that happens is you get a notification. So if you start to answer questions there, then they'll notify you when someone else has a question that's in a similar niche or a similar topic, and then you can go out and keep answering the questions. So I found that kind of cool.
It is cool. Well, there's a downside to Quora. It's a great way to waste a lot of time.
I try not to hang out there.
All the stories, but I mean, I put one answer up a while ago to post, and it has astonished me as to how many people are reading it. It's probably in the hundreds of readers by now, and it was to do with infidelity. And I came up with a very direct and kind of rough answer, but I'm astonished by how many people read it. And it was so popular that I went in and revamped it and put an affiliate link in it to a site to do with the book on how to get over a breakup very quickly. So yeah, Quora, it can have benefits, but it's really tricky in my opinion.
Yeah, it can also fill your inbox up really quick too.
Yeah.
With what?
With all
Yeah.
sorts of questions.
Yeah.
Well,
I get
yeah,
3 or
yeah.
4 or 5 of them a day, and I've looked at it maybe 3 or 4 times and answered one question, and it just keeps coming at me, and I hate to unsubscribe to it, but
I've turned that off so I don't get inundated with it because it's just too much. It's enough that I get a notification every now and then. Notification, that's enough. But yeah, I mean, if you hit onto a really popular topic, like you start surfing on there and you'll find some incredible responses. Now, how well that turns into monetization, I don't know. Hit and miss, in my opinion.
Well, I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that people use Quora to figure out what are popular topics. Like if you're trying to think of a new topic for a website or a discussion like this or whatever, that you can researching there can sort of give you some ideas about topics. Yeah. Well, my goodness, here we are at 10:15. We've gone way past the top of the hour. So I didn't give everyone a chance to ask a question. I hope that if you had one, that you would jump in. So
I have a question for Jay. Can we use Google Analytics to find our audience?
Can we use Google Analytics to find our audience?
Yes.
It'll actually help you understand who is your audience currently. I wouldn't say it would help you find it, but it would help you understand who your audience is, because the data within Google Analytics is all about people who actually have physically visited your site. So within analytics, you can determine, like where they're coming from, what pages they're popular on, or what pages they visit, what pages they leave. So you can determine the behavior of your current audience. In terms of finding a new audience or finding where your audience is, I would say it's probably better to, Google Analytics, you can see where they're coming from. So that's really important. So that way you can determine that your current audience is coming from, source A versus source B. And then based on that data, you can then leverage that and try to do more outreach within that particular source. So for example, if let's say your Reiki site you've got a lot of traffic coming in from, say, Facebook, right? And not so much organic search, hypothetically speaking. So then that would mean that then it would be more ideal to leverage this information and try to get more traffic coming from Facebook. So by either boosting your posts or just engaging more within that particular social media. And at the same time, experiment with other social audiences. For example, like YouTube, you've heard me say that YouTube is the next blogging platform, right? And based on our conversations today, it really does look like that's the way that it's heading down. So, so you can understand who your audience is currently, and then you can kind of get an idea as to where they're coming from, and then that gives you an idea as to where to actually go after, what audience to go after.
But
does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But this conversation that we've had here points up to the fact that here's a golden opportunity to create maybe a short course, maybe even, one or two modules showing various techniques for finding, like that Google My Business thing that we just discovered. I mean, there's a technique there that could be incorporated into a module for someone. So I think there's there's a potential there for somebody who really knows what they're doing. So
Yeah, you could use a source like Udemy for building your courses and
yeah,
putting a call to action into it to use it as a traffic generator.
yeah,
If you're not using something like Udemy to make money off so much, what you can do is create a whole bunch of free coupons, put it on many free coupon sites on Facebook and wherever else
yeah,
they appear, and build your audience very quickly. And it could turn into it. It's hard to say as to how many people would use that call to action to turn into a client. But I mean, the funny
yeah.
part about doing some of this stuff is you never really
You don't know until you try. Yeah,
Well, that too. But you don't always know where your audience is coming from.
Right.
They can come from rather obscure places, and I just got an email from somebody this morning. I think it was in Bulgaria, who said that they read a guest post I did on Home Times. I was just going, really? Oh, thank you. Because you never really know.
yeah. So yeah, there are lots of platforms. Udemy is one of them, but there are some plugins that you can use and do on your website, etc. And I think that's a topic for another day. So, before we part, any sort of parting comments? I was looking to see if Fred was still here. He has a meeting. We've gone over, so he's had to leave. I usually try to give Fred the last word. Does anybody else? Would anybody else like to have the last word today? Well, if that's the case, then I shall just remind everyone that it's important to do what you love with passion. And we shall see you next week.